human capital issues has been steadily increasing over the last couple of decades. So we understand quite a bit about the way people work. And among the problems that we have identified which relate to people include undermined motivation. And this perhaps has a very large effect on productivity and quality of project than most of the other projects, most of the other factors. Lack of motivation. Second, that means after motivation, the key factor affecting the outcome of project, the success of project, is the capability, the individual capabilities of the team members and the working relationship among them. The other common factor relating to people is the complaint that team members have about their leaders, about their failure to take action to deal with problem employees, problem project staff members. What about processes? Process as it applies to e-governance projects include both management processes as well as technical methodologies. It is actually perhaps it's easier to assess the process effects rather than effect of people on success. The Software Engineering Institute, the Project Management Institute are all leading names in this domain, and they have done a lot of research. They have documented quite a bit of findings on how the processes are important, how they affect, how they determine the outcome of projects. It's not uncommon for project to spend months or even years going through approval and vendor selection process. This is in fact, this is something that we find is very common in the e-governance space in India. Project, right from its conceptualization stage, DPR is prepared, the detailed project report is prepared, it goes for approval, it goes through the procurement process. It may take a year or two. In fact, if it takes this long, the technology might even have changed in the meanwhile. Leaving that aside, we spent many months or years in the pre-project stage, and then we come out with an extremely aggressive plan for implementation. It is much easier to save a few weeks or months in the front end, the pre-project stage, than to compress the development, the implementation time by the same amount. So this is a common mistake that we tend to make. The other is, from a process perspective, is our tendency to underestimate and produce overly optimistic schedules. And this sets up the project for failure by underscoping it, undermining the effective planning, shortchanging the requirement determination, and quality assurance. And of course, there is the insufficient attention that we pay to risk management. The failure to proactively assess and control things that might go wrong with the project. Common risks include a lack of project sponsorship, changes in stakeholder buy-in, scope creep, contractor failure. These are all risks that we are very well aware of, and yet we don't take adequate precaution to factor them in formally.